Well, why do you think it's healthy for them to go up to do that? Because people think, well, that makes no sense. I mean, it should be the lowest rate possible to do that. So why, in your opinion, do you think it's healthy that the bonds rates go up?
You can't keep the margin, all this stuff suppressed so far. And on top of that, if they don't realize the government is coming in and buying a bunch of these bonds and artificially keeping them low, there's all this, there's the trying to get the
Well, who typically buys bonds? Because everybody knows. I mean, I think a lot of people. Well, I don't know if they understand that or not. That the government for the last several years has been out buying the bonds to keep the rates low. But who typically would buy a bond at that point in time?
It's everybody. I mean, you look at your own 401k. I mean, you'll see Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA stuff in there. You'll see foreign investors that come in and participate in our market. And right now, or what has been happening, is the government's been propping it up because just the yields and everything else for the time being, and to keep the rates low.
Now, quantitative easing has been over for a little while, in terms of and that this is one thing I hate to correct you, but one of the things to understand is when the Federal Reserve was buying bonds, that was not the government buying bonds. That was the Federal Reserve buying bonds.
Correct.
And they're a quasi-government agency chartered by the government, but the government wasn't buying bonds. Government issues bonds. But the Fed was buying the bonds, but they've stopped doing that some time ago. But to answer your question, the biggest buyer of bonds right now is pension funds.
Okay.
So they're a big buyer of bonds. But then there's also a lot of foreign money coming in because the belief that the U.S. currency is more stable than their own currency.
So for the average person, your retirement or your 401k that's out buying mortgage-backed bonds, as long as the mortgages are producing your bonds, your retirement's continuing to do well, and if they start failing and people stop making payments and loans default, at that point in time is when your 401k starts taking the hit like it did, and starts going down at that point in time. So it's important to understand the difference of why.
So I think the answer to your question, why would ultra low rates not necessarily be good for all parties concerned, which is, I think, the better way to kind of think about it, is it's terrible for savers.
That's why your savings account at the bank is a half a point, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're approaching retirement or you're a retired person, and you want to try to get some kind of stable, secure income by not buying Apple, which is, Apple's a great company to buy, but if you want to get some dividend yields, but not really dividend, but interest yield, and interest rates are 0%, you're getting nothing. I mean, there was a time just recently that if you had a savings account, it was paying 0.005%. I mean, who even cares about that?